Deep in the Emerald Marsh, two best friends named Mossy and Fennel were playing a game of high jump. Mossy was a bright, lime green frog with a permanent wide smile, and Fennel was a sturdy, forest green frog who loved to race. They hopped over mossy logs and splashed through puddles, not noticing the old stone well hidden beneath a curtain of tall, drooping ferns. With a sudden whoosh and a splash, both frogs tumbled down into the darkness. The well was deep, and its walls were made of slick, cold stones. They landed in a shallow pool of water at the bottom, looking up at the tiny circle of blue sky far, far above. It looked like a small, glowing coin at the end of a very long tunnel. Fennel tried to jump, but he only made it a few inches up the slippery wall before sliding back down. He looked at Mossy, his eyes wide with fear. Above them, a group of frogs gathered around the opening of the well. They looked like tiny silhouettes against the bright sky, and they began to shout, their voices echoing harshly off the stone walls. "It's too deep," the frogs above cried, waving their arms frantically. "You'll never make it out. Just give up and save your strength for the end." Two frogs from the crowd, Hopper and Kale, peered over the edge, shaking their heads. They were sure the situation was hopeless and wanted to warn their friends to stop wasting their energy. Fennel heard every word. The discouragement felt heavier than the water in the well. He sighed, his shoulders slumped, and he sat down on a mossy rock. "They're right," Fennel whispered to himself, his spirit broken. "It's impossible." He stopped trying to jump, his heart heavy with the weight of the no falling from above. But Mossy didn't stop. He couldn't hear the shouts of, "It's too deep," or "Give up," because Mossy was deaf. To him, the frogs at the top weren't shouting warnings. He saw their waving arms and moving mouths and thought they were cheering him on. He looked up and saw the crowd's frantic gestures, interpreting them as encouragement. Mossy thought they were saying, "Go, Mossy, go! You can do it." He felt a surge of energy. He took a deep breath, puffed out his chest, and crouched low. He wasn't going to let his fans down. Every time he saw a frog above wave a hand, he thought they were signaling him to jump even higher. With a mighty boing, Mossy launched himself upward. He hit a small ledge, slipped, but caught himself with his sticky toes. He didn't look down at Fennel. He only looked up at the cheering crowd. He believed with all his heart that they wanted him to succeed, and that belief gave him the strength to keep climbing. With one final, spectacular leap, Mossy's front paws gripped the mossy rim of the well. Hopper, the oldest frog at the top, reached out in shock to help him over the edge. The crowd fell silent as Mossy pulled himself onto the soft green grass, panting but victorious. They couldn't believe he had made it. Mossy turned to the crowd and bowed, his face glowing with joy. "Thank you for cheering for me," he signed with his hands. The other frogs realized that their words had been heard as music, not noise. Inspired by Mossy's success, the crowd quickly lowered a long vine to pull Fennel to safety. Mossy's persistence had saved them both.